Hi, I'm Sharon and I'm an abstract oil painter from Los Angeles, and I'm here today with my partner in crime, Don Saban, a photographer who has been photographing Los Angeles for the last 40 to 50 years. And we're at Tag Gallery with our show, Symbiosis. The beginning of Symbiosis started when Don and I, even though we've been friends for over 20 years, decided that we would like to see what we could do with both of our art forms. I'm an abstract oil painter, he's been a photographer all these years, and would there be a way that we could work together and feed off of each other and come up with more creative things, something different. We're both very bored. Once we do a few things, we get bored with that process. And we found that this process really gives us constant amazement about what comes out. And depending on where we start with the photograph and what Don's looking at, we never know how it's going to look in the end. And that's the most exciting part to us.
So it sort of started with the photo montages that I was doing for myself with 2 of my photographs or more. And I was photographing Sharon's paintings and for her, for her archive and all that. And the more I was photographing them, the more that I was looking at them, I was like, well, this would be a great thing to combine with what I'm already doing. So instead of just doing 2 of my photographs, I was doing 1 of my photographs and 1 of her pieces. And that's how Symbiosis was born, was basically when I saw what you were doing, I was just like, interesting, how would this work with mine? And the rest is history, here we are.
So this piece right here started with my oil painting called Before Form. And actually in this one, you can still see a lot of my oil painting. It's not true for everything. And then Don photographed that and then took it into his system and added his work into it, merging. I don't even want to say merging because it's not even the right technology. I have no idea how he does it. But he has a lot of things in his head and he manages to put all this stuff together and come up with wonderful surprises.
The photograph is abstract to begin with, so it's abstract, a photograph on an abstract painting. And what I do, I photograph posters that as you drive around town you see on buildings that they're doing. But I like them after they've been rained on and torn and fallen apart, and I do details of close-ups of the different abstract images, and so then I lay that, merge it in there with hers, lay it over the top, or sometimes I put the painting over my photograph, sometimes the photograph goes over the painting, and then I go in and remove or add things, so it's not just boom, boom, it's done. Then I've got to finish it, which is the most time consuming. Finding the right image takes a little time, trying different ones that work, don't work. But then sometimes it's almost there, but something needs to be changed, and that's when I go in and either remove or modify what she's done or what I've done in order to compositionally, color, texture, that's what it's about. And once you look at it and it's like, okay, it's done, then that's it. We've got it, moved on to the next one.
Right, but the issue about something being done is, I guess, maybe where the art comes in, because it's not a formula. So there's no formula to know exactly when it's done. It's just, and I work the same way with my paintings. It's like, all of a sudden you work on it, and you keep working on it, and then you go, okay, it's done. Somehow the piece tells you that it's finished.
Yeah. And you can't really describe it. It's like you know it when you see it.
Yeah.
And it's like I sit back and I look at it and it's like there's nothing I would change. Then it's done. Because up until that point you see things that you're going to change all the time. And so you change it and look back at it, okay, and then eventually you get there. Sometimes it's faster than others. Sometimes I have to just let it go for a day or two, come back, see it again with fresh eyes, and then it becomes apparent how, that I either want to change it or leave it alone. So in this example, instead of overlaying or working with a complete image of her painting and me doing something over it, this is a photograph that I took. It's of the Paramount Studios, the entrance, but then I took her painting, and when I drug it over to there, it was about this size, and when I saw that, I was just like, well, that's really interesting. So then I just, reduced it down a little more, put it over that, and thought, I think that's it. and that's why, I've done a couple like this, like the one over here, if you want to follow me over here.
The blue veil is the same, yeah.
This one is a similar sort of thing, which I probably did about the same time as I did those. Again, it's my photograph, but with her painting, but it's not over the whole thing, it's just over the face. And for some reason, I just liked the way that looked, and it was done.
This section represents a different process. For this, we actually start with Don's photograph. So he has, like I said, a huge portfolio of photographs. I sit with him and I go through them and I look to see what I think might be interesting for me to try to paint on top of. And then he prints, so we pick a few, 3 or 4 at a time, and then he prints those for me. And then I take them home, and of course they're all beautiful. All the photographs are so beautiful. So I take them home, and then the fear comes in, and I go, well, how can I put paint over something that's already so beautiful? So I sit with them in my studio, I prop them up, put them up on my board, and I sit with them for a while. And then eventually, I don't know, something within me just says, okay, today's the day that I'm going to do these photographs. So what I do is he's already printed this, and then I just take my oil paint and apply it in my abstract way. And then we end up with this. Now what we've also experimented with a little bit was he would then take a picture of this and then bring that back into his system and work with it again. But we ran into a few issues because these pieces we initially printed on canvas. And what happened with that is it was good for me, that really the oil paint worked out really well. But when he brought it back into his system, the canvas was very grainy and he couldn't get the look that he wanted. So then we decided to go ahead and try it on paper because the paper's smooth, so he had more flexibility with how he could work with them. We've just started doing this. These two were my first two that I had done on paper. So we haven't photographed these yet. So this will be one of our next journeys to see how these turn out.
Hi, my name is Mark Beatty. I'm a senior gallerist at Tag Gallery. My duties include selling the art and helping the artists manage their shows. It is really impactful right out of the gate. I have got the pleasure of working with Sharon on multiple shows, and I love her abstraction. I've watched people collect and have been able to facilitate sales. And now that it's evolving and there's some figurative elements, some cityscapes, some landscapes, it's got a whole new dimension. I think the public's really gonna love it. The colors are one of my favorite aspects about the work.